We all want places like this to photograph birds, with open views, clean backgrounds, perfect light and water. But most of the time our reality looks more like this. Branches everywhere, twigs, leaves, and a dark environment. But still the bird is there. And that moment it's worth trying. That moment needs to be framed. If you photograph birds, you know this problem. You see the bird, but the camera doesn't. The camera sees branches, twigs and everything except what you want. The focus jumps back and forth and don't lock. Even bird detection sometimes just give up and can't find the bird. And it's not your fault, this is simply a difficult situation. So, instead of fighting the camera, we need to help it. But wait, there is something important I want to say. Branches are not always the enemy. Very often they are the frame. In photography, one of the most powerful composition techniques is natural framing, using elements in the scene to guide the viewer's eye. Branches do exactly that. They add depth, they create layers, they show the birds in its real environment.
Most birds don't wait for perfect backgrounds. They live where branches cross, where light is uneven, where things are messy and unpredictable. Those branches are not just obstacles, they are part of the story. They frame the bird, add depth and remind us that this is a living space, not a studio.
A bird against a clean background can be beautiful, but a bird inside branches feels real, and honestly, I think it feels honest. So the goal is not to remove the branches, the goal is to control them. And that's where technique becomes your ally. My setup today is very simple. I'm using the Nikon Z52 and an old Nikon 55 to 300mm lens. It's a DSLR lens adapted with the f2.z adapter. On this camera it gives me about 450mm of equivalent focal length. Nothing fancy, but extremely practical for birds and branches. Most of the time, as I show you in my other videos, I shoot with bird detection and a medium AF area. And it works great until branches take over. So I set my camera in a very specific but simple way. I assigned one button to instantly switch to single point or needle AF area. When autofocus struggles, I press that button and the AF area becomes one single point. And I place it exactly where I want. And suddenly the bird snaps into focus. The branches disappear and the subject becomes clear. When the situation improves, I release the button and I'm back to my normal AF mode. I'm not fighting the camera, I'm guiding it.
Photography, it's not about removing everything that gets in the way. It's about choosing what matters and learning how to guide the viewer's eye through the chaos. When you stop fighting the branches, you start seeing them differently. They stop being noise and became part of the image you were looking for.
But there is another big challenge when photographing birds in branches: light. Birds are often in the shade and surrounded by dark backgrounds, so exposure compensation became critical. I constantly adjusted, +1, -1 and more. I expose mainly for the bird, not for the branches. Because perfect focus means nothing if the bird is too dark. Not every shot will work, and that's okay. Birds move, the branches move, and the light changes. Persistence is a key part of this kind of photography. Once you stop fighting the branches, they stop being noise. They became part of the composition. And that's when photographing birds between branches starts to make sense. Thank you for being here. Bye bye.